Gareth Paul Gates is an English singer-songwriter. He was the runner-up in the first series of the ITV talent show Pop Idol. Gates has sold over 3.5 million records in the UK. He is also known for having a stutter, and has talked about his speech impediment publicly. Gates used the McGuire Programme to manage the problem and is now a speech coach with the programme. In 2009, Gates moved into musical theatre, playing the title role in the West End production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolour Dreamcoat at the Adelphi Theatre. In 2009–2011, Gates completed an 18-month stint as Marius, initially in the touring production and then in the West End production of Les Misérables copyright Rebels. He also took the roles of Eddie in the musical Loserville, Warner in Legally Blonde in 2012 and Dean in Boogie Nights the Musical in concert in 2013. He is now part of the pop group Fifth Story, set up for the big reunion. Early life: Gates was born in West Bowling, Bradford to father Paul and mother Wendy Broadbent. He has three sisters, Nicola, Charlotte, and Jessica, and grew up with his cousin James, who was fostered by the family. His parents regularly foster other children. Gates and his sisters attended Dixon's City Technology College in West Bowling, Bradford, where Gates studied art and music at GCSE level. He joined Bradford Cathedral Choir at age 9. He was head chorister by the age of 11, singing solo for the Queen when she visited in 1997. Gates achieved grade 8 in piano, classical guitar and singing. He gained a reserve place at the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester before the finals of Pop Idol. Career: 2002 – 2003, Pop Idol, What My Heart Wants to Say and Go Your Own Way. Gates was the runner-up to Will Young on the first series of Pop Idol in February 2002. Gates auditioned with Flying Without Wings and was put through to the next round of the show. Despite not winning the competition, he was soon signed up by Simon Cowell with the BMG label. Gates' first single, a cover of Unchained Melody, entered the UK singles chart at number 1. The single went double platinum in the UK, and was voted 2002's The Record of the Year by ITV viewers. This was followed by another number 1 single, Any One of Us. His third single, a double A-side Suspicious Minds / The Long and Winding Road, a duet with Pop Idol winner Will Young, also reached number 1. His fourth, What My Heart Wants to Say, reached number 5. Gates's debut album What My Heart Wants to Say achieved first-week sales of 100,000 copies, peaking at number 2 in the UK albums chart, and eventually earned double platinum status in the UK. The now-defunct Smash Hits magazine dedicated October 7, 2002 as International Gareth Gates Day. In 2003, Gates sang the 2003 comic relief charity single, Spirit in the Sky, with the Kumars. The single was a UK number 1 for 2 weeks. He also appeared in Comic Relief Celebrity Driving School. Through Comic Relief, he became involved with Body and Soul, a charity that helps people affected by HIV and AIDS. His next single, Sunshine, reached number 3 and was taken from his second album Go Your Own Way, which was released in October 2003. However, the album was far less successful than his debut album. It peaked at number 11 in the UK before dropping to number 32 the following week, and only spent 4 weeks on the album chart altogether. The album enjoyed slightly more success in a number of Asian countries however, and Gates won MTV Asia's award for Best International Male in 2003 April. He was awarded the same title by MTV China and MTV Taiwan. His next single, Say It Isn't So, reached number 4 in late 2003, but proved to be Gates' last single release in the UK until April 2007. At the start of 2004 he did an arena tour of the UK, then continued to promote his album throughout Europe and Asia, before taking a break and training as a speech coaching course instructor with the McGuire Programme. By this point, Gates had sold just over 3 million music singles in the UK, including the second and sixth best-selling singles in 2002, which sold 581,000 and the second best-selling single in 2003. All 3 of these singles were listed in the top 100 singles of the decade as announced on Radio 1 with Spirit in the Sky at number 62, Any One of Us, and Unchained Melody. The biggest selling single of the decade was Anything Is Possible/Evergreen by Will Young, whom Gates had lost the Pop Idol contest to. In the 2003 film, Seeing Double, alongside pop group S Club, Gates played a clone version of himself. He also promoted AIDS awareness through a charity concert to 50,000 people with MTV in Indonesia. 2004 – 2009, Pictures of the Other Side. In 2003 and 2004, it was reported that Gates was being dropped by his record company BMG. The reports, which also cited low sales of his second album and low concert ticket sales as reasons, were denied by both Gates and the record company at the time. Gates was later dropped from the label in April 2006 before the release of any new material. In 2006, Gates appeared in a television documentary for ITV1 called Whatever Happened to Gareth Gates, which dealt with his experiences in the music industry and his life outside it. The documentary was screened in December 2006, and confirmed a new record deal with UMTV and a new album as well as showcasing snippets of the new material. An early preview of his new album was given at a secret gig on November 29, 2006. Gates had been working with writers such as Sacha Skubek, Ricky Ross, Gary Clark and Pete Giordano, and knew the album was produced by Martin Tarif, John Hall and Nick Whitecross. Since 2004 Gates had also been working with singer-songwriter Judy Zook. Initial contact was apparently made through Lucy Silvers. Gates' regular acoustic guitarist, Graham Kearns, also worked with Zook and has writing credits with Gates on both albums. Appearing at the Limelight venue in Crewe during Zook's October 2004 tour, Gates sang backing vocals to a surprised audience on Zook's track Bully. A song Gates co-wrote with Zook, Dark Days, appeared on Zook's 2007 album Songs 1. On March 30, 2007, Gates appeared on Friday Night with Jonathan Ross, the first time he had participated in an interview for a mainstream television chat show since his speech improvement. The first single from Gates' third album was Changes, which was released on April 9, 2007. The single peaked at number 14. A second single, Angel on My Shoulder, was released on June 18, 2007, peaking at number 22. Both singles remained in the UK Top 40 for only 1 week. Gates' third album, Pictures of the Other Side, was released on June 25, 2007. It proved to be Gates' lowest-selling album to date and spent only 2 weeks on the UK album chart, entering at number 23 before falling to number 66 the following week, then dropping out of the chart altogether. During his time working with Judy Zook, Gates also co-wrote the song Christmas and I'm Home with Her. It was first premiered live by Gates in 2004 in Bradford, and Zook recorded the song with pianist Haim Cotton. Zook's version was released commercially in November 2008, as a charity single download and as a physical CD single sold exclusively through the CD Baby website. 2013 present, Best of Album Release, The Big Reunion and Fifth Story, Gates continues to gig as a solo artist with his guitarist Pete Rinaldi. On December 27, 2013, it was announced that Gates, along with Dane Bowers, Kenzie, Adam Richt, and Kavanagh would be forming a supergroup called Fifth Story for the ITV2 documentary The Big Reunion. Following the program, the newly formed group will tour as part of the Big Reunion boy band tour. Gareth released a very best of album through Sony Music in March 2014 which included his No One hits and fan favorites plus 3 brand new acoustic tracks, which he recorded with his guitarist Pete Rinaldi. Musical Theatre. On July 6, 2008, Gates starred in the lineup for A Spoonful of Styles and True, a charity fundraiser to celebrate 25 years of musical theatre composers George Stiles and Anthony Drew. Gates played the part of Robbie in a preview of a new musical Soho Cinders, and features on the album. In January 2009, Gates confirmed in an interview with the Daily Mail that he has no plans to go back to the pop music scene in the near future, planning instead to concentrate on musical theatre, as he had just been cast in the lead role in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolour Dreamcoat at the Adelphi Theatre, London. Taking over the role from Lee Mead, Gates began the role on February 7, 2009 and continued to play the part until the final performance on May 30, 2009. Gates performed at the charity event Broadway to West End by special arrangement on October 4, 2009 at the Drury Lane Theatre, singing, "Why God, Why?" as a solo and The Last Night of the World as a duet with Irma Castro. Both songs come from the musical Miss Saigon. The event was to honor the work of orchestrator William David Brougham and raised funds for CLIC Sargent Cancer Care. In June 2009, it was announced that Gates was joining the cast of the international 25th anniversary World Tour production of Les Misérables copyright labels in the role of Marius. Gates had been offered the choice of playing Marius in London's West End or in the anniversary tour, but opted for the tour as it was a new production and there was the opportunity to make the part his own. In January 2010, Cameron McIntosh BBC Manchester that there was to be a live cast recording of the production, recorded in Manchester. This double album was released in the UK on September 13, 2010. Les Misérables copyright labels live on the label First Night Records. Following the final performance of the anniversary tour at the Barbican, London, in October 2010, Gates joined the West End production of Les Misérables copyright labels at Queen's Theatre where he continued to play the part of Marius until June 2011. Gates took a break from musical theatre to work on other projects, including writing a new album, but planned to return in March 2012. Taking the part of Claude in the UK touring production of Hair. It was later announced that the musical would not proceed as efforts to rescue the tour following the bankruptcy of the original production company had failed. Instead, Gates played Eddie in the new musical Loserville at the West Yorkshire Playhouse in 2012. The musical was written by Busted's James Bourne and Elliot Davis. Along with Gareth, the cast also included EastEnders Aaron Sidgwell and Lil Chris. In January 2012, Gates featured in a one-night-only charity production of Children of Eden playing the part of Cain in aid of Crohn's disease. In July 2012, Gates will take over the role of Warner in the UK tour of the musical Legally Blonde. In early 2013 he will be touring in the musical Boogie Nights, with members of the Osmonds, Louise Lytton, Shane Ritchie, Chico and Andy Abraham. Personal life, charitable work and other activities. Gates had lived in Chiswick, West London, with wife Suzanne Gates, a dancer he met at the Record of the Year Awards in 2002, which he won for Unchained Melody. In October 2006, the People newspaper incorrectly reported that they had secretly married. Gates and Mole got engaged on New Year's Eve 2007 and were married on July 18, 2008 in a private ceremony for family and friends. The couple had their first child together on April 6, 2009, a girl they named Missy. Gates qualified as a speech coach and latterly as a course instructor with the McGuire Programme where he helps those with stammers similar to his own. He co-led his first full course in February 2005 and in August 2006 he instructed his first course single-handedly in Galway, Ireland. He led his second at Bournemouth in November 2006, and continues to lead courses in the UK and Ireland, the most recent of which was in November 2010, with further courses scheduled in October in Birmingham and in Galway in November 2011. Gareth Gates' Stammer House is to form part of the new documentary season for BBC Three recently announced by Z Bennett at the Edinburgh TV Festival in August 2011, due to air later this year. In the documentary made by IWC Media, Gates will take 5 young men and women who've stammered since childhood and in 4 intense days transform their lives. Over the 4 days the group will confront their stuttering demons on an intensive and testing course. Speaking of the documentary, he said hopefully this documentary will give people an insight into something that most take for granted Euro-speaking. The documentary, renamed Stop My Stutter, aired on BBC Three on February 27, 2012 on BBC Three. Gates presented the BBC Lifeline appeal for the British Stammering Association. Gates spoke to MPs including David Amess, Robert Buckland, and Steve Bryan at the Palace of Westminster as part of a briefing on communication disability hosted by the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists and the Centre for Social Justice. Gates said, "By speaking today I hope to shed light on the issues that surround speech and language difficulties. In particular, through my own experiences, I want to explain how the inability to converse and communicate drastically shapes and molds the Euro unregistered trademark's lives." It determines the sort of people they become and the paths they follow. On October 18, 2011, his work as an ambassador, raising awareness of the issues surrounding speech difficulties, was recognized at the Giving Voice Awards ceremony. Gates is a patron of the HIV/AIDS charity Body and Soul and of the Bobby Moore Fund, which supports research into bowel cancer. He took part in the 2009 Cosmo Everyman campaign to raise awareness of prostate and testicular cancer. In 2008, Gates appeared on ITV1's Dancing on Ice with skating partner Maria Filippov, finishing fourth, losing a place in the final to Zara Abrahams and dancing partner Fred Paliskark. On September 7, 2008, Gates played for England against the rest of the world in Soccer Aid 2008 at Wembley in aid of UNICEF. Gates played Prince Charming in the pantomime Cinderella at New Wimbledon Theatre, from December 2008 to January 2009 alongside Joanna Page and Alistair McGowan. Further pantomimes followed, including The Prince in Snow White and The Seven Dwarfs at Woking in 2010 €11 and Aladdin and Milton Keynes in 2011 €12. In December 2009, Gates took part in ITV's All-Star Family Fortunes, along with his then-wife Suzanne, Mum Wendy, sister Nicola and best friend Matt, and won £30,000 for the Bobby Moore Fund for bowel cancer. Other TV and sporting activities for charity have included an appearance on Sky's Don't Forget the Lyrics and ITV's Mr. and Mrs. Again for the Bobby Moore Fund and various events for the Rhys Daniels Trust. In January 2014, Gareth again took part in Dancing on Ice for the final year, partnered this time by Brian Delcourt. This year's show consisted of former champions and public favourites. He finished in 7th place. He was the last celebrity apart from previous winners to be voted off the programme. He will appear in the very last Dancing on Ice tour in March and April 2014. Also in January 2014, Gareth took part in the Big Reunion, where he appeared alongside Dane Bowers, Kenzie from Blazing Squad, Adam Richt and Kavanagh, to form Fifth Story. The band were very warmly received on the show and have since been included in the Big Reunion tour for 2014. Gareth released a very best-of album through Sony Music in March 2014 and has subsequently announced a greatest hits tour on which he will sing old favourites and also new material. He will also be performing several acoustic sets throughout the summer and autumn of 2014. Working with Jonathan Wilkes, his wife Suzanne and Wilkes' wife Nikki, Gates set up the Gates and Wilkes Academy of Performing Arts for young people from €5 in his hometown of Bradford. Gates and Wilkes opened a second academy in Milton Keynes. During an interview with BBC Radio Leeds on June 16, 2012, Gates announced plans to open a further academy in Leeds. After his separation from his wife, the partnership was broken up. Gates now has 3 performing arts academies in Yorkshire. In 2009, it was reported that Gates has made an estimated £6.5 million during his career to date. The Irish Independent newspaper reported that Gates was one of a number of celebrities with investments in the company Ingenious Media, which backed a number of films, including Avatar and X-Men Origins, Wolverine. Discography: What My Heart Wants to Say, Go Your Own Way, Pictures of the Other Side, Tours and Concerts, Pop Tours, Pop Idol Arena Tour 2002, Will and Gareth Arena Tour 2002, Go Your Own Way Arena Tour in UK and Asia 2004, West End and Other Theatre, Joseph and His Amazing Technicolour Dreamcoat. Joseph. West End 2009, Les Misérables Copyright Labels International Tour. Marius 2009/10, Les Misérables Copyright Labels. Marius. West End 2010 November, Loserville. Eddie Arch. West Yorkshire Playhouse, Leeds 18 June July 14, 2012, Legally Blonde UK Tour. Warner at various venues from July 17, 2012 to September 2012. Gareth will play the role of the Prince in Sleeping Beauty at Marlow Theatre from November 30, 2012 to January 20, 2013. Gareth will be playing Dean in Boogie Nights at various venues from January to April 2013. Other notable events and charity concerts: A Spoonful of Stars and Drew 2008, Broadway to West End by special arrangement 2009, Children of Eden 2012, private concert for the Prince of Brunei, January 2005, MTV Asia AIDS Awareness Concert. Indonesia, December 2004, concert to open Louis Vuitton's first store in Shanghai, China, October 2004, Dancing on Ice Tour 2008, Dancing on Ice Tour 2014, Records and Awards, UK, The Record of the Year 2002, Unchained Melody, Smash Hits Awards 2002, Best Male, Best Hair, Best Newcomer, Most Fanciable Male, Smash Hits Awards 2003, Best Male, Best Single, Young Achievers Yorkshire 2002, Special Award for Service to Yorkshire 2002, Giving Voice Celebrity Ambassador Award. October 2011, Overseas, MTV Asia, Best International Male 2003/2004, MTV China, Best International Male 2003/2004, MTV Taiwan, Best International Male 2003/2004, TMF Belgium, Best International Pop, MTV Taiwan, Inspiration to Youth, G Music, Best International Artist 2003, Hit FM, Best Single of 2003, References. External links, official website, Gareth Gates on MySpace, Gareth Gates at the Internet Movie Database.